It won't fit.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up.
Wow, that was a very
Dark.
dark cold open, Pat. But
Dark
it's
enough.
it's all downhill from here, right? Or is it uphill? I guess we want to go downhill. It sounds both of those things sound bad, don't they? It's like you don't want to go uphill because that's miserable and it's basically cardio. But going downhill makes it sound like you're going down. Like, what's the good part about that?
Well, Sugar, we're going down swinging. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we absolutely are. You know who did not go down swinging on Sunday, unfortunately, was Alex Forsythe.
Rest in
Every
peace.
single Denver Bronco did go down swinging. So on this episode of Altitude Adjustment, as Pat and I try to collect ourselves, we're telling you the good, the bad, and the ugly. But more specifically, here's what we're going to do. Every other show, every other podcast, they give you one of three things. They're either going to give you the silver linings of why it's okay that they lost and they were competitive and they were in the ball game and Bo Nix looks great and that's okay and everything is sunshine and rainbows. While others are going to tell you that it's doom and gloom and the Broncos absolutely had to win one of those last two games. They definitely had to beat the Chiefs in order to be a playoff team and everything is terrible. And then there's a third, maybe very small contingent of people who will discuss their conspiracies, Pat. Why the Chiefs keep winning, and it's because of the officiating. Well, on Altitude Adjustment tonight, the only place where you can get this, you're going to get all three. You are going to get all three themes or focuses, if you will. So, Pat, I want to end on a good note. So
Sure.
Why don't we start with the ugly? Okay,
with the worst of it.
we're going to talk about where the Broncos went wrong, because I think you and I can agree, and I think most Broncos fans can agree, Pat. They outplayed the Chiefs pretty much the entire game. If you told me that we held the Chiefs' offense to one touchdown that they didn't deserve, that got gift wrapped to them, held them to one touchdown and 16 total points, I would say, well, the defense probably did enough. If you told me that Bo Nix threw 2 touchdown passes, I would think, yeah, that's probably enough. But it wasn't, Pat.
Yeah.
So why don't you kick us off and tell us what was ugly about that game?
Well, I think like the ugliest part for me was the third quarter. Really the end of the first half and then the third quarter as a whole. That third down sack and subsequent penalty, which was just come on. And NFL officiating. I am speaking from pretty much every person in Broncos country and anyone outside of Chiefs Kingdom. What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, what are we looking at here? What are we looking at? We have watched for an entire season and a half now Jawan Taylor leaning on every single snap.
He just keeps doing it.
Getting false starts. Yeah, he'll get called once. He got called twice for illegal formation in this game. Not a false start. Not a single one. I counted at least 8 rewatching the game. We've watched this for a year and a half, and yet you refuse to do anything about it. We have sat back and watched while Patrick Mahomes, arguably one of the most physically gifted human beings to ever touch a football, whine and complain. It like blows my mind. You're already good. Why are you bitching so much? Why are you complaining?
I can't think of a bigger crybaby in the NFL. And the judgment of Chiefs fans has been so clouded and
Yeah.
skewed. Because I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, Pat. Would I love to have a Patrick Mahomes? Would I love for Bo Nix to come? Yeah,
Absolutely.
talk
I would
all
take
the
it
shit that they're talking
10 out of 10 times.
percent. But if Bo Nix, let's play a hypothetical. If Bo Nix turns into that caliber of quarterback, or even close to that, if he's in the top 10 of quarterbacks somewhere down the road, and he starts acting like Mahomes, entitled, constantly looking for a flag, constantly bitching to the officials, telling the officials to let him know when defenders are close to him. I don't know the context, but it was a bitch move, okay? Whatever context that you slice it, because he clearly said something to the official. Chiefs fans want to skew it. That's their prerogative. I'm telling you right now that if Bo Nix becomes the quarterback that we all hope and pray and wish and dream that he becomes, that if he starts acting like Mahomes, I will admonish the behavior because I'm an educated football fan, and that is more than I can say for Chiefs fans. They are delusional. And I tweeted this out, Pat. It's like, you all should be glad. Be glad that you get every call. Be glad that the officials are on your side. Be glad that they protect Mahomes, that they bail that team out time after time after time. I would be psyched. I would admit, like, yeah, we had some calls go our way. Yay us.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to point out
legend penalties and tweet them up, be like, no, you're wrong. It happens to everybody. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I do want to point out, a lot of people brought that play up. The third down that should have been a fourth and forever, and how that was a game altering play. And I've seen some people agree. I've seen some people say, no, that's not game altering. You didn't score. You didn't score in the third quarter. You didn't block on that last field goal attempt. Okay, listen. Play happened in the second quarter. Okay. Broncos get the ball back in that situation with 3:40 something on the clock. It's an extra minute and a half of possession time for the Broncos. It's an extra minute and a half that the Chiefs don't have the ball. And that's an extra 7 points off the board. So yes, that quite literally was a game-altering call in that situation. Instead of
minimum 7 point swing, minimum.
And even if the Broncos don't score on that drive, which they didn't on the following drive, they didn't score. They probably could have, but they didn't. It's still the same. It's still the same thing. There's still 7 points on the board that shouldn't be on the fucking board.
How many points did the Broncos lose by?
I believe they lost by 2 points, Mario.
And how many points is a touchdown worth in the NFL, Pat?
I believe that a touchdown is worth 6 points.
Now, I'm not a math nerd by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm pretty sure 6 is more than 2. If we can get confirmation in the comments, if you can let me know that 6 is greater than 2.
It's just like, how can you say that that's not a game-altering call in that situation? How can you say that? That's completely deflating to the defense. It's completely deflating to the rest of the sideline. Like, you got a huge stop against the best team in the league, the reigning champs. You got a huge stop. It would have forced them to punt. But instead, we get a ticky-tack call. A ticky-tack call. That really shouldn't have even been a call at all.
And not only that, Pat, and as egregious as that wasn't even the last bailout on that drive. Go look back at that third down play. There was about as egregious of a hold on that 3rd and goal play as you will ever see.
Yeah.
And it's the play where Cooper is chasing Mahomes like a madman, throws an incomplete pass in the end zone. But because that wasn't...
Jaquan should have picked that thing off. He should have been picked.
Yeah, it floated up there a little bit. That's a hold. So you get bumped back. I think it's 3rd and goal from the 12 or something like that. And unless the Chiefs get another 10, 11 yards, and the way the Broncos defense was playing, it didn't seem like that was very likely. but then they were kicking a field goal. They're not going for it on 4th and goal from the, between the
2.
4
It
and
was
the
on
12.
the 2. It was on
Yeah,
the 2.
exactly. Okay, so all right, then 2. So it would have been bumped back to the 12. Regardless, they're not going for it in that situation. And the bottom line is, and it's all semantics, right? The bottom line is 2 bailout calls, or a bailout call and a bailout non-call on that exact drive. It's like the officials just willed the Chiefs to score a touchdown, and it still took them to 4th down to actually get it in the end zone. For perspective, and I want to point this out, that's how well the Broncos defense played. And they've absolutely had Mahomes' number for the last couple of seasons, especially since VJ has been the defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
But that stuff just drives me crazy, Pat. And it's never, or it's rarely anything that's like completely blatant, but it's a handful of calls throughout the course of the game that add up in the most opportunistic times for the Chiefs that bail them out one way or the other.
Exactly. And they're game altering calls. That's what's so crazy. So this is the play that you're talking about. And I want to point something out. I want everybody to watch Juwan Taylor here. I want everybody to watch this. Okay. Right there, he's set. Okay. You can move your back foot a little bit. That's totally fine. Here's where the problem is. Right there. That little rock. And some people say, well, he's just timing the snap. No. That ball is not snapped yet. The ball is not snapped, and he's rocking back. Okay? And you could say, yeah, it's simultaneous. It doesn't matter. You have to be set. You have to be set.
The ball is snapped.
So he rocks back. That's fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We are outside of the frame. We are fully outside of the pads. Okay. This is also a hold down here, but we won't talk about that. Okay. He's outside of the frame, guys. And if I'm on the sideline and I'm Sean Payton, Mr. Official, he's outside the fucking frame. I don't want to hear it, coach. I don't want to hear it. No, he's outside of the frame. Watch the replay and tell me he's not outside of the frame right now. We can't look at it. Coach, you got to He's outside of the fucking frame. This is a flag right here. Should have been called. No call. Okay. Could have called it here. No call. Could have called it here. No call. Instead, we get dance, incompletion. 3 penalties, 1 play. 4 penalties, 1 play, no call. And then
scored on the next play.
And then you wonder why people fucking hate your fan base so much. You wonder, like, love my wife to death. She's like, don't blame me, blame the referees. Yeah, we are blaming the referees, but it's also fucking annoying to hear all of the Chiefs fans say, well, we're the best, three-peat incoming, when shit like this is the product. When shit like this happens, this is why we fucking can't stand you. I grew up watching the Chiefs. Okay. We all did in Broncos country. We grew up watching Trent Green. Also, Trent, go fuck yourself. We grew up watching him
and Green catching strays
because he was fine on the broadcast, but I just love the fact that it's Trent Green calling a Chiefs game.
Right.
We were watching Trent Green. We were watching Priest Holmes. We were watching fucking Dante Hall and Tony Gonzalez just kill us week after week. Y'all, like, you're a good team now. You have the talent. Like, why do you feel like why are the refs giving you so many fucking bailouts? And yes, I'm aware it's all over the league. It happens in every game, whatever. Who gives a shit? But you can't sit there and tell me that one team in this league has had more benefit from these type of like ticky-tack, whatever you want to call them, calls than the Chiefs. You can't tell me. Your quarterback literally goes out there and bitches and whines about not getting calls. They caught it on hot mic after the Bills game, what was it, last year, a couple years ago, saying this is the worst of. Could you imagine if Bo Nix went up to Patrick Mahomes after this last game and said, God, that was the worst officiated game I've ever seen? Could you imagine?
Could you imagine if any other quarterback did that? If any other quarterback did that, and it was a blurb, they pointed it out, and they're like, oh, and nobody, and nobody really thought anything of it. And it's because we have been disillusioned as football fans to believe that they're entitled.
Oh yeah,
They're entitled to those
This
calls.
is-
And it's just crazy. Like it was like arguably, Pat, the funniest thing about him saying that in that moment, it was arguably the most fairly officiated Chiefs game
it was against the
in the
rules.
Patrick Mahomes era. It's like, you mean to tell me that they called a penalty for something that was in fact a penalty,
It was a forward
and
pass.
that's the worst officiated game you've ever experienced? There is no ends to the fucking entitlement, because that is the most laugh riot thing I have ever heard in my entire life. The
I was like,
one time
bro,
that you don't
have
get
some
bailed out
shame.
and that it's the correct call, and you're gonna throw a hissy fit?
Because
Shut up.
Because it worked, Mario. Because the play worked. So honestly, they should just bend the rules. If you can execute that play, then it should count. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it
How about
breaks the
any
rules.
fantastic play,
Because
Pat? Any
like-
wonderful play that's being made. But you know what? By that standard, if it's a fantastic play, then you're not calling illegal contact on Brandon Jones, because that sack that Nick Benito had, that was awesome. That was a freaking awesome sack. So
And he
because
was-
it's such a great play, then the penalty shouldn't be called, right?
Yeah, he was. Dude, Benito had himself a fucking game in this game.
Yeah.
But like, I this is the last thing I'm going to say on this. Patrick, Kermit, whatever you're calling yourself these days. Okay. And the rest of the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid, I have the utmost respect for you as a play caller and as a head coach. Loved you in Philly. Okay. Have some fucking shame. Have some shame for yourself. You're the same quarterback who bitches and whines about people hitting you, but then when you run over some DB from the 1 yard line, you're like flexing on. Like, come on, dude.
Or he's pretending to go out of bounds.
Yeah.
And then the defender goes fine because he's not trying to get fined, and he gets another 15, 20 yards.
If I was working in the NFL, and I know a lot of former NFL players work in like certain sects of the league, I would institute a new rule if I was NFL commissioner. We're bringing back the big hits. CTE be damned. Because if I have to watch Patrick Mahomes do that again on the sideline, what he did in the 49ers game, and everybody was like, whoa, how does he do it? Because defenders have been now taught for the last 10 years, if they're going towards the sideline, and we teach it in high school too, if the defender is going, or if the ball carrier is going towards the sideline, they're giving themselves up. Don't even think about it.
15-yard penalty and a fine.
Think about it. Because, I would tell my kids all the time, if it's clean, go for it. Okay. If he's not running out of bounds on himself, like on his own, take him out of bounds. Okay. So defenders have now this like sense of like, ooh, I cannot hit him. I cannot hit this dude. And then he pulls that shit. And then it's like, whoa, this is the greatest football player I've ever seen. No, bring it back.
Magic Mahomes.
Light these
Magic
motherfuckers
Mahomes.
up. I don't care if it's Bo Nix. If it's Bo Nix and Bo Nix is acting like a prick running to the sideline, take him out. Take his ass out. Hit him. Hit him fucking hard. Sean Taylor his ass on the sideline. I do not care. If he's acting like that, he deserves it. Right? But don't play this cutesy bullshit. Don't play and then try to act hard when you're bitching and moaning to the refs the whole goddamn game about like, you got to let me know when he's close. Let's touch on that for a second, shall we? We talked about this earlier today, you and I, but let's tell the rest of the viewers. Okay. I heard that watching the game, I heard it live and I said, okay, maybe he's making a joke. And then I saw his body language when the cameras were still on him and they were talking about it. He was not joking. He was being serious. And I thought to myself, are you fucking kidding me? This guy's that big of a bitch that he wants the referees to tell him when a defender's getting close to him? Do you think you're that privileged? This is a grown man.
Face of the league is acting like this?
Come on. Like this, that's ridiculous. You win with dignity, you lose with dignity. Okay? Don't act like that. That's Bush League shit. That's
Let me ask you this. Honest question.
Yeah.
Every other starting quarterback, all the other 31 starting quarterbacks currently right now, do you see any of them realistically, and this is an honest to God question, Do you see any of them acting the way that Mahomes does?
Kyler Murray. I could see
Okay.
Kyler Murray. I could see Kyler Murray acting that way, but that's only because he has to save his thumbs for double XP weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, no. Like I don't. Like I think of like bring back the Jay Cutlers, man. Bring back not the Ben Roethlisbergers, not in that sense, but Ben. Like those guys were taking fucking hits. And they were given hits too. Right? They weren't going to the ref saying, "Hey, can you tell me when the defender is close to me so I know?" No, no, man.
Well,
Like,
to be fair, Pat,
what do you want
Kyler
the
Murray
official
got
to
hit
do there?
so hard this past weekend, he lost his helmet.
flew off. That was
His
hilarious.
helmet got knocked out. And what did he do? He threw a tutty like the next play. So
Muse. Look at Muse's
objectively,
comment. Look at Muse's comment. Bring back Booger Sugar before these episodes. Imagine
that
Sean
one?
Taylor hitting prime Patrick Keone. Listen, Sean Taylor
it would be unstoppable force meeting an immovable object.
Sean Taylor would send me into the astral plane. Sean Taylor would send me through the black hole in Interstellar. It would not even be funny. That dude.
Your ancestors would feel that hit. Yeah.
Sean Taylor. I think of John Lynch all the time. John Lynch is another dude that would probably send me into the astral plane. But like, bring back those hits. If you're gonna have quarterbacks act this way, and like again, I think that Patrick Mahomes is probably one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen. Some of the shit that he does is absolutely outlandish when we talk about throwing the football. But like, holy shit, man, don't be such a pussy. I'm sorry. Like, I hate to say that because like you're an NFL player and I'm just some fucking schmuck. But like, dude, like lost a ton of respect for him in that moment. I'm not even going to lie. I lost a shit ton of respect. When I heard that, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I want to talk to Chris about it because I want to be like, what's your fucking take on that? Could you imagine Peyton Manning? Like, I could see Peyton doing it as a joke. Like, hey, you gotta let me know when that guy's coming close. Haha. But like turning around and then being like deadpan, like mad about it. Like
honest to goodness, serious.
Could never imagine Peyton Manning doing something like that. Couldn't imagine Tom Brady doing something like that. Tom Brady would tell the defender to go fuck himself.
Brady got his shit pushed in plenty of times, and he got right back up and he talked shit to the defender.
He sure did. And that's why I respect the hell out of that dude. Cannot respect Mahomes after this.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Let's just go ahead and segue into the bad, okay? And there was plenty of bad. Aside from the second quarter, it was rough. And I don't know what you saw, Pat. I'm sure that you watched the all 22. The play calling in that second quarter was chef's kiss. Mm-hmm. Third quarter, we all watched it. We all saw it. But at the end of the day, man, that last drive, and I want to say this really quick, and then we'll get into that film. That last drive, I had texted a couple of my buddies, and I was like, man, how nice would it be if they put together a 5.5-minute drive and kicked a field goal with no time left? Mm-hmm. And I was almost speaking tongue-in-cheek because we never see that against this Chiefs team. We don't. They always find a way to get the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. And that was, in my opinion, the best drive that Bo Nix has had in his young career, and I don't think it's remotely close. Not only do you get into field goal range, you convert 2 huge third downs along the way, including the play before that you had to have to give you better field goal positioning and to make them burn the rest of their timeouts. I honestly thought that they were going to run on that third down play just to make them burn the timeout and then have them no timeouts. That was the ballsiest call I've ever seen, and what a play by Bo. The fact that he was able to orchestrate this drive, chew exactly the right amount of clock. He did everything right. Sean Payton did everything right. The offense did everything right. So at that moment, we saw what we needed to see. Like that was my Bo Nix has arrived moment. Because you do it against the division rival who's the 2-time defending Super Bowl champion in their house, against Patrick Mahomes, against the Steve Spagnuolo defense. You can't ask for any more of that. But before that, there were struggles. You got something potted up?
Yeah. I feel like the third quarter, they came out and they were trying to get the run game going. And they got a big run from Audric Estime, who had a fantastic game, by the way. Big run by Estime that got called back for holding. After that, we had a scramble, a pass for 6 yards, punt. Okay. And then they tried to get back to the run game. Run it for 4, pass for 10, run for 2, run for 3. And then they were moving the ball a bit, but then we had incompletion, negative 1 yard gain, and then the 16-yard sack. Okay. So they were getting momentum. And then there's one play that just sucks it out of them. This was the play, though. This was the play that I thought to myself, man, this really sucks. This third quarter is really fucking bad, because this play right here, and I tweeted about this earlier. I tweeted this one. And if you follow me on Twitter, you saw my tweet about this. Okay. This was at Patrick Ewing. This was a beautiful set. Okay. They had a great play dialed up for 3rd and 7. Okay. Chiefs on 3rd down were blitzing at the highest rate in the league going into this game. Broncos on 3rd down, one of the highest passing percentages on 3rd down. Okay. So it was perfect defense, perfect offense matched up against each other. What we have here is a condensed empty set. So we've got 2 wide receivers right here. We've got our tight end right here, 2 wide receivers down here. This is our X. This is our Z. Okay. F and H, or H and F, however the fuck you want to put it. And then your Y's right here. So this is strong side. If we're playing defense, everybody, strong left, strong left, strong left. Okay. Chiefs are showing blitz the whole way. They're not even hiding it. This is Eric Reed. This is a safety. He's down in the box. Look at the stance of the corner. Does he look like he's about to play coverage? Absolutely not. He's fucking going. So this is on the quarterback, and this is on the quarterback of the offensive line. Who is Mario?
That would be Wattenberg.
That would be Luke Wattenberg. Yes. So what we're going to get here, okay, is we're going to get a blitz from 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. These 4 players right here, they're going to come on a blitz. Now look at this guy. This is Josh Uche. What do you think that this guy's doing? He's standing up over the tackle. Do you think that he's coming?
If he is, he's not coming hard.
No, this guy ain't going. He's not going. Chris Jones, he's coming. Okay. So we're going to get a drop off here. This guy is simming the blitz. Okay. Look at him. He's trying to creep up. He's not coming either. This is a complete show by these 2. They're bringing 1, 2, 3, 4 down here. The offensive line. Okay. We're going to get a half slide to the right. So it's max protection, which means our tight end is staying home and he's blocking. Okay. He's one-on-one with Chris Jones right now. I don't like that matchup very much. Okay. So we get a half slide. Miners is looking to the right. McGlinchey is looking to the right. Troutman is blocking to the right. Okay. What we're going to get out of the Broncos offense is smash on the right side. So our X is going to run a corner. Our H or our F, whichever one, is going to run a little 5-yard out. This is smash. Smash. Okay. We're going to get essentially what is post wheel down here at the bottom. They're going to do a switch. So this would be post wheel switch. Okay. Post wheel switch. The inside guy is going to go outside. He's going to run up the sideline. Troy Franklin right here is going to run a little in, up, post. Okay. We call that a speed post or just skinny, honestly. Because the offensive line did not make any changes at the line of scrimmage. We have 1, 2 blockers on one guy.
Miners on nobody, and McGlinchey basically on nobody.
Miners and McGlinchey blocking air. Meanwhile, we have 2 free rushers, not 1, but 2. Bo sees this. Holy shit. What happened? Got to get rid of the ball. Runs backwards. Chris Jones is right there. They set this up perfectly. Okay. Chris Jones is right there. He can't run into Chris Jones. Got to throw it away. Could have been a pick. Probably should have been, honestly.
Yeah.
So what does this say to me? This says that in crucial situations, in third down situations like this, where you're going to face elite defenses who understand how to bring pressure and bring exotic blitz looks, offensive line has to be ready. And you've got to be aware. They weren't hiding anything. They were full on showing you what they were going to do. Okay.
You have to know where it's coming from.
So if we have a half roll here, if we have a half roll, so guard, tackle, and tight end are rolling essentially to the right, and then Bo is going to take that little hook right there, which was part of the play. The center has to point out to the left guard and left tackle, hey, I've got here, you take there, tackle, you take there. That way, here's what would have happened. Powers takes Reed here. Power takes Reed. Bowles still takes Karlaftis, but this is a longer angle for the cornerback to get to. And what could have happened, essentially, is Powers takes Reed, Wattenberg passes 51 off to Miners, or Miners sees this and comes over and takes the corner, or Wattenberg comes over and takes the corner. One of those two things. But this is why that third quarter was so rough. Spagnuolo was absolutely in his bag, but this is something that could have easily been avoided and called. I'm not going to sit here and say that Alex Forsythe is going to make that call. That's not what we're here to do. I'm just showing this is part of the problem and why we need a little bit more leadership from the offensive line in these situations, because this could have been a very good play. If we were able to get this timing up, and I feel like he wanted to go to Franklin here, you could have had a shot. You could have had at least a shot at a 50-50 ball here. Okay. Instead, it lands in no man's land. Just had to get it away. This could have been a pick. If 21 was smart, he's just reading it the whole way. Okay. But it's not. It's an incompletion. But this is the frustrating part. 1, 2, 3 blue hats, 1 red guy. 1, 2.
Not ideal.
1 guy. Garrett Bowles doing his job. Okay. I would not leave Karlaftis alone. I would leave the corner alone. Corners play corner because they cannot tackle. Should have been picked up. Could have been at least a 50-50 ball, or we could have hit Vele down here at the bottom. I felt like the corner was kind of leaning towards more vertical, taking the vertical. So he would have been underneath the corner, would have left Vele out here. Might have been tough, but at least he gets some yards. Those are probably the only 2 options that you have.
And let me ask you this. You're sensing pressure coming from the left side, right? Like Bo, Wattenberg, whoever it is, they need to pick up on that.
Yeah,
and so
what
is the number one rule when you have an outside blitzer? You throw at the blitz. If you have more guys coming than you have to block, you're throwing at the blitz. So what I would like to see here is some sort of check. Even if you're not checking the protection, you can tell, like you said, Reed and then 13, whoever that is, you could tell by their body language that they're coming. They're coming on that side of the line. So why are you not checking into maybe like a quick out here from Court or Franklin? They're taking it upfield and they're running right into the coverage.
I would have
flare one of these guys out and like call like a little quick out. But you like bottom line is, and you know this is picking up a blitz 101. You throw at the blitz. You throw at the side that's coming at you.
They could have even, I mean, Bo could have checked to a draw here and probably would have gotten the first down, because Uche just completely bails. First down is what? They were at the
11.
The 12-yard line. So the first down is like right here. Okay.
Was this 3rd and 10?
This was 3rd and 7.
Oh,
Look at that. Look at that beautiful space right there. Uche is completely turned. He doesn't turn back around until the fucking 21, 22-yard line. Could have hit Cortland Sutton here too. Honestly, if he puts this up, it's going to be in the sun, but it's right in that corner right there. And look at where the other corner is. See, I was right. I didn't even know where he was going to end up.
Is that Vele on the far side up there?
This is Vele, yeah. So they ran,
and I guess in a perfect world here, Pat, because it looks like you said, the protection was slid to the right, and they're anticipating. I don't know if they're anticipating pressure coming to the right or what it was.
That's just called.
So it seems like Bo is looking to the right. I mean, conceivably, if he had another half second, he can hit Vele on that out, and it might be a first down.
So the thought process here would be, okay, if it is if it is man, okay, if they go man across the board, which they ran like a match. I would call this match. I wouldn't call it man because of how this corner was sitting and because of the drop. This would be like, maybe you could call this like cover 4, cover 6 match, maybe palms match with a blitz. But for the sake, if you get man, okay, you're going to peak the wheel. If he's even, he's leaving. Okay. Peak it, work back to the post. Okay. If that's the side you're working. To me, because this is it's really a 2x2 set, you got to pick a side. You're working one side or the other. So honestly,
how do you feel about there not being a check down option here on this concept?
I think the check down is the out. I think that's your check down. He could not get to it. Couldn't get to it. Chris Jones was right in the lane. So I would have appreciated if he saw the free runner and he just turned and ripped it. I think Reed is getting there before he can really take off. If they check to a draw, yes, but that's because the blocking is different. But because of this play, I would have appreciated if he saw the pressure. Okay, he knows he's got a free runner coming. Just turn and rip that bitch to the outside. Safe. The corner was far enough off. Who makes the call for which way the line slides? Bo or Wattenberg? It's a little bit of both. Okay, so the quarterback really, and it also depends on like coaching and whatever. But both guys should have a say. The center really should be the one who is making that call because he is communicating to the rest of the offensive line, and they have their own verbiage that they use, right? That verbiage is going to be similar but not the same as what Bo would say. Like Bo would have slides, half slides. He can call out who the mic is, but when he calls out who the mic is, who's making the changes? It's the center, right? So the center will work from mic out, directing traffic. To me, this one is on a little bit of both. It's on both. Like Bo should have seen it. I feel like the half roll was designed, but Bo should have seen it, made a change, made a call, something, because the number, like when you're the quarterback, you're the one playing the numbers game. Okay. The center is just the message man for the rest of the offensive line. That's not to say that the center can't just be like, hey, sorry, Bo, fuck what you're doing over here. We're going to go, we're going to Ray over here. We're going to Liz over here. Okay. They can do that. It's just, it depends. Like I'm not in the locker room. I don't know what the dynamic is like, but I felt, and Frankie also confirmed this. I felt like this team, when Wattenberg is in, not so great at picking up the stunts and the blitzes. And this was just an example of that. So I don't hate the play call. I just hate the execution. And I wish that there would have been some changes.
Seems to be a common theme that we're dealing with.
Yeah. And it's like, is it on Sean Payton? Well, kind of, not really. But like at the end of the day, like he's the one who's going to take the flack anyways.
Yeah. So, well, and yeah, man. And again, at the end of the day, as egregious as the officiating was, and as bad as some of these moments were, they still left a handful of plays out there on that field. Like what
For sure.
transpired at the end of the first half, when the
Mm.
Broncos got the oh my gosh, when the Broncos got the ball back. And Cortland drops, kind of inexplicably drops that deep dig that I think would have been for a 15 or 20-yard gain, putting you in field goal range, maybe
Well,
even giving you an opportunity to take a shot before halftime. Can't drop that pass. And then I think it was the next play or 2 plays later, jumps off sides or lines up off sides, and a 55-yarder turns into a 60-yarder. And I mean,
that was a
55 is
couple plays
already
before. That was on the knee.
50. Yeah, well, either way, 55 is already too much of an ask for Lutz, but that 60-yarder that he attempted, it's probably good from 55. So it's plays like this, like we can piss and moan about the calls that the Chiefs get, and they do. And I think the thing to take away is like the team was right there, and like despite these little moments where they didn't play as well as they needed to and they didn't execute the way that they needed to, they were still in this game. And absolutely should have won the game had it not been for a blocked field goal. And since that is the theme, Pat, let's discuss this real quick, and then we'll end on a high note.
Yeah.
This moment from Alex Forsythe was not an anomaly. If you go back, like it has been happening routinely. Somebody on Broncos Twitter had pointed out, like of the 40 field goal attempts between field goals and PATs, someone has ended up on their rump, I think it was 21 times. Now, is that a bad thing? It looks bad, but if you're slowing the guy down, then I guess it doesn't really matter. The problem is that of those 21 times, it happened to Forsythe, I want to say like 14 or 16 times. If someone has the numbers, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'm trying to go off of memory. And so here's my pet peeve about that, Pat.
Yeah.
Forsythe had filled in great as a backup center, as a seventh round center. You can't ask for much more than what he provided for this team. But what happened on Sunday during the blocked field goal, this is not a new occurrence, like far from it. And as someone like you, a special teams coach who watches film, and you had told me after the first week of the season, you told me on the phone, you were like, they're going to get a kick or punt blocked at some point if they do not clean this up. And if you can see it, Pat, after week 1, I have a very difficult time believing that Westhoff, who thoughts and prayers, hope that he's okay. It's unfortunate that he's stepping away at this moment. And I really hope that this doesn't taint his I don't want to say legacy, but his tenure so far with the Broncos. I know I said taint. Get over it. He has been a fantastic special teams coordinator. Yeah. How many punts have they downed at the 1-yard line? How wonderful has this special teams unit been? But then there's just this one red mark on his ledger. Like you saw it. Everybody has seen it. It has happened repeatedly. It happened against the Chargers. It happened against the Panthers. It happened against the Saints. It continued to happen, and yet they didn't address it. Yeah. And I don't know how you coach that. I don't know if you have to single Forsythe out and say, hey, man, you need a wider base. You got to stay on your fucking feet. You got to do something. And either that or what we were talking about earlier, throw someone else in there. Yeah. Throw a defensive lineman, a big-bodied defensive lineman out there who maybe has more of a reach. Maybe Forsythe doesn't have a long reach. Maybe it's hard for him to get his hands on the guy. Like maybe he just doesn't have a solid base right now. Maybe it's a strength issue. But the bottom line is this should have been addressed some way, somehow. Either you're coaching up Forsythe or you're putting somebody else in there.
Yeah. And Mario, this is week 1. This is week 1, baby. This is the first.
Was this their first field goal attempt?
This is the first field goal attempt of the year. Okay.
You can already see Forsythe is getting knocked on his butt.
Oh yeah. So I want to preface this by saying, yes, Mario is correct. I coach special teams. So I did a lot of work on this exact thing. Okay. Shout out to the moron on Twitter who was like, yeah, right, you weren't seeing this, blah, blah, blah. Everybody wants to see it now that it cost us game. I saw this. This is the exact play that Mario and I are talking about. Okay. Now, when we look at their lineup, this is something new that the Broncos and quite a few other teams have been trying. I'm not sure if it's new to this season, but it's definitely new to me. Having your two most inside, so this is Ben Powers, this is Quinn Miners, already kneeling. We're already down on the ground, okay? Why is that?
Man wins.
Low man wins every single time. So when
Every
we're
time.
blocking field goal PATs, this area right here, we do not let anybody through this at all. Okay. Don't want that. Now, this is Mike McGlinchey. I don't love how this is set up. I think that the way Garrett has it set up is a lot better. This, to me, feels like an injury waiting to happen. I digress. So, starting from center snapper, this guy goes down, this guy goes down, this guy goes down, this guy goes down, we get wide. Okay. So you'll see them step down, hand out. Okay. Or both hands out. Get as wide as possible. All right. And what we see here, you can already see Forsyth is kind of, he's not like, has no balance here. Leverage is already lost. Okay. He looks like he's just like squatted over. Okay. Like you could flick him and he would fall forward, or you could flick him from the front and he would fall back. Okay. Jordan Jackson, love this stance. This is a power stance right here, baby. This is nice. Okay. Now let's take a look at what happens. McGlinchey steps out. Forsyth doesn't step hardly at all. Okay. I think he steps a little bit.
Actually, looks like his right foot is rolling. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's McGlinchey's foot. But he's front-footed.
Yeah. So he steps out and he's wide. That's fine. You're right next to the guard. Just don't let anybody through. Okay. He's low. He's got leverage. Garrett, Ben, this is fantastic. Good job by the snapper. Look at how wide Ben Powers is here. Look at how wide Mike McGlinchey is here. This is not wide. We got no step down. Okay. We actually stepped
on the other side of where Forsyth is. I think that's Palchevsky, and he is also wide.
Right here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is a wide stance right there because Pouch is a big guy.
He's very wide.
And we're on our butt. Now, you tell me.
This has been manifesting since the very first field goal of the season.
Now, he's got his arms out, and that's fantastic. But what I teach, the way that I teach it, if it was Forsyth's position, I'm telling him, put your hand on his hip, okay? So at the snap, we're hands on hip, we're wide, we're down in our stance. At snap, we step down, and we keep our pad level low. We get neither of them from Forsyth here. He lands on his butt. Guy didn't even try to rush. He just wanted to put him on his ass.
He just pushed him over. Well, and that's number 17. So I assume it's a safety, or is it a linebacker? Okay.
Now,
and he looks a little bit more slight. Bottom line is, a linebacker should not be putting a center, an offensive lineman, on his ass that easily.
300 and some pounds. Yeah. So let's look at the Chiefs one for reference. Everybody, we're going to relive this trauma live. Okay. Ball is snapped. Look at how Forsyth moves his body. His body is coming up. Okay. So when you're low and you're starting here and then you go here, we lost leverage. Okay. Cannot have that. It
comes up immediately.
Late stepping down. And it's just all bad. Okay. Now, somebody did point out, I think you said it was Ross from Mile High Sports, did point out that Pert did not execute his assignment. That is also correct. So again, look at here. Now, same thing. Miners, knee down. Powers, knee down. Okay. Everybody's tight over here. Palchevsky's a little high, but that's fine. We can live with that. Okay. He's got a nice angle. Forsyth is like even. Okay. And you look right there. He comes up.
Should McGlinchey be that turned?
Yes. That's fine. We'll take that. We'll take that every time, because if they want to get through, they have to go over and they have to use leverage, which is flag. Okay. Forsyth, because he comes up, he exposes his chest. He gets it. He gets the bull rush from Chanel. That's dangerous. Leverage gone. Now Pert, first thing is going outside. This right here, this is a no-no. Never, ever.
Yeah, that's not good.
Ever give up your inside lane. Ever. I don't care who the fuck is out here. I don't care if JJ Watt is out here in a fucking sprinter stance. I don't care. Put your fucking arm out and step down. What the fuck are we doing here? Yes, Forsyth got his shit rocked. That's fine. But you know what happens if Pert steps down like he's supposed to? Makes it a longer angle for Justin Reed. Stops all of this in here. Take the longer angle. Look at how Jordan Jackson is playing this. Yeah, just like he played it perfect. It doesn't matter if the guy goes around you. Get wide. So they have to go all the way around.
Make him kick out. It's a bad angle.
Longer angles. But see, Jackson stepped down. His foot is still there. This is what it's supposed to look like, y'all. If you want to blame Alex Forsyth, fine, blame Alex Forsyth. But this right here, this is a no. This is absolute no. I'm fucking replacing you on field goal. I'm replacing you on field goal. I'm replacing you on PAT. You're fucking done.
And it should have happened before this, clearly.
One rule is step down. Step down. Step down, get wide. It's ridiculous. And like Columbus tweeted about it earlier and said, yeah, I played that same position. I got put on my ass a ton of times. It's going to happen. From that inside position, that's tough. You're going to get your shit rocked sometimes. I've been there. It's not fun, but you get your shit rocked sometimes. The ends have to do their jobs. You have to seal those lanes. Otherwise, this happens. Replace him with Uwazurike. There you go. There's your answer right there. Do it. See what happens.
Well, Uwazurike is long as shit, too. And that was something that we were talking about. Is like maybe Forsyth's arms are short. Maybe he doesn't know how to use leverage. It's like, then get another body in there. That's what needs to happen. Yeah. Sorry that we made you relive a moment that will live in infamy in the lore of Broncos fans forever. But Patrick, it is finally time for our favorite part of the show. We are going to cleanse everything. We are going to end on a high note. We are going to end on positives. We're going to get everybody fired up about the remainder of the season. Nay, Patrick, we are going to get everybody bricked up.
I'll never get sick of that.
Bricked up, Pat. The Broncos are sitting at 5-5. It's not ideal, but admittedly, I think it's better than pretty much everybody assumed.
Yeah.
And we had kind of discussed this. We said, probably not going to get a win in Baltimore, probably not going to get a win in Kansas City. Should have won, but it's done. They didn't get the win. It's over. Yeah. Time to move on, time to look forward, time to focus on the Falcons and the remaining games that they have coming up. Pat, this is still, as it stands today, a playoff team. And the only other team that, in my opinion, they need to be concerned with is the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals are a much better team than their record, and they are going to start ripping off wins. When they meet up in Cincinnati, I think that's going to be a Week 17 game. That could be for a playoff spot. And the Broncos have to make sure that they put themselves in a good position. I know we're looking way forward. The bottom line is they got to take care of business now. The unspeakable gauntlet of playing arguably the two best teams in the NFL, certainly two of the three best teams in the AFC, on the road, it's over. It's in the rear view. Time to refocus because you are in the driver's seat. The Broncos are in prime position. They control their own destiny. They don't need to hope for other teams to lose. They just need to win. And it starts Sunday against the Falcons. The Falcons just got bullied by a pathetic New Orleans Saints team. And I'll tell you what, I think that this team matches up incredibly well with the Falcons because Kirk Cousins is a statue. And this defense gets after the freaking quarterback.
Yeah.
Despite having sacks wiped away from their ledger, they still finish with 4 sacks on Patrick Mahomes. That does not happen almost ever. The fact that you were able to put him on his fat ass 4 different times is massive. And it makes me so bricked up to think about the direction that this defense is going. This defense is going to win them games. This defense has won them games.
Yeah.
Flick it back at. And as long as the offense holds up their end of the bargain, and it's like I feel like I'm getting deja vu, Pat, because you and I had almost this exact conversation at almost this exact time last season. But you know what? The offense didn't hold up their end of the bargain.
Yeah.
But the reason that I think they will now is because we have seen out of Bo Nix exactly what you and I craved, what we longed for. The number one thing that we wanted to see was progression. Was for Bo Nix to prove that he is the franchise quarterback. And he is far from the reason that they lost that game. He did everything in his power, everything that he needed to do to win that game. That's what you want to see out of your rookie quarterback or out of any quarterback. That is what you want to see. And that's what has me so bricked up because you know that the defense is going to do their thing. You know that the defense is going to compete and they're going to hold up their end of the bargain. They will seldom give up 20 points again. As long as the offense continues on this trajectory and they clean up these little things. And we've seen it, Pat.
Yeah.
You and I have pointed out, mostly you have pointed out where they need to clean things up on the offense. And they've done it for the most part. Someone said earlier in the chat, like that final drive that Bo Nix had, that should have been the game-winning drive, picked up pressures perfectly. Yeah. He was throwing dots. And the best part about that, Pat, that is the biggest moment in his entire life to date. And it was not too big for him. Not only did he not crumble, he rose to the occasion. And he showed us all. He proved to everybody in Broncos country, I'm the fucking man.
Yeah, that was if they make that field goal, like, can you imagine
how different is the tone in Broncos country, man?
And that's like, dude, that's an iconic game. It's an iconic game. We gamble way too much. How do we gamble too much? In what way are we gambling too much? That's what I'm curious.
David, I would love for you to expand on that. I assume he's talking about like in Baltimore, they went for it on 4th down a whole bunch and didn't really get it. But David, I don't know if I can agree with you on this one, my man. I would like to see a little bit more gambling.
You're playing desperate, like you're in Baltimore, like facing off against the MVP. Like you got to go for it.
Lamar,
you can't wait on those. You have to
score points. Yeah, you can't settle for field goals. You can't punt.
Just like in the Kansas City game, like realistically, if they score on that last drive, like they were trying to run up the score. Okay, like they were trying to put points on the board, and they were fucking close. It's just those little mistakes. Field goals wouldn't have done anything to get us to 41 points.
David, they gave up 41 points, man. That's a real nitpicky thing to complain about. I'm sorry.
No. Now, if you said, well, they gambled too much by throwing deep too much, well, then that's a conversation that we could have, because that's something that I've kind of.
But then you have other people complaining that they don't throw deep enough. It's like when people just aren't going to be happy. It's easy. It's easy to find things to complain about. But again, David, like that was 2 games ago, man. Let's move on. We're looking forward now. Yeah, okay.
We're
they're not playing the Ravens again until maybe the postseason.
Let's talk about what's getting Pat bricked up. Okay. Let's talk about that. Okay.
What's getting Pat bricked up today?
What's getting me bricked up is the fact that Bo Nix is progressing at such a great rate. Like he really is. He's starting to see the field a little bit better. There's still those little things that we can work on fixing. Running backwards into a sack, probably not a good thing, Bo, and we need to fix that. But man, the footwork has looked a lot cleaner. The under center play action is really, really coming into fruition, and he's throwing some fucking lasers. When my wife is commenting, like, "Damn, that was a fast throw that he just threw right there." I'm like, yeah, this motherfucker can sling the ball. Okay.
Well, he's expelling the rumors that he had issues with his arm strength.
Yeah, and it also he's like in the top 5 in tight window percentage. Someone correct me if I'm wrong there, but he's either like top 5 or top 3 in tight window throws.
Well, he has no choice, Pat. The wide receivers aren't getting any separation.
He has basically shut out almost every single narrative that there was for him before the draft. And I'm starting to love it. Like I'm starting to love the fact that he can go into Kansas City and play the way that he did against a Steve Spagnuolo defense. And yes, he took the 2 sacks. Yes, they were bad, but like for the most part, he was pretty fucking clean.
You could not have asked for a much better game out of a rookie quarterback against that defense in that situation.
I think that like the more that we see Bo Nix develop and the more that we see him progress, and this is another interesting thing. Muse just pointed out, is Marvin Mims stealing Jaleel McLaughlin's spot? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say this is Sean Payton trying to figure out how to put the ball in his hands easier. Because clearly him running
the ball in his hands.
Yes. And like they did it a couple times in this game, but they put him in the backfield, like just him and Bo. And then they motioned him into, we called it Queens. So it would be, it's like the running back is next to the quarterback. And then you add, another running back or an H-back or whatever, behind the quarterback. So it's kind of like the pistol. Okay. So you've got one to the left and one behind you. And they ran this like bubble screen with Mims and he just fucking threw it right to Mims. Like, remember what, week 1 or 2 when we were talking about this? And I was like, guys, let's just run bubble, like swing routes with Marvin Mims. And everyone was like, oh, that might work. I'm like, yeah, they should just do that because clearly you can't catch the ball in space.
Get him in space and let him work.
Broncos, hire me. Sean, thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Big dog, keep it up. Because it's beautiful. They're adding more and more wrinkles to the offense that this isn't happening with Russell Wilson. I'm sorry. This is not happening with Russell Wilson. They were running Hank like 50% of the game with Russell Wilson. I don't think I've seen Hank, like true Hank since like week 3 or 4. But like, I think that the thing that has me the most bricked up is just the fact that Bo continues to grow. Much like that Boner that you have, it's continuing to grow. And the better that he gets at handling these adversity-rich situations in Baltimore, in Kansas City, the more exciting a Joe Burrow Bo Nix matchup in December is going to be. The more exciting a Anthony Richardson Bo Nix matchup becomes. Russ takes a sack in that Bo game. Winning throw. No, like for real. Like I'm sorry. Like you can't sit there and tell me that this offense would be even close to as creative as it is with Russell Wilson. I just don't see that. So yeah, Sean, Bo, you got me bricked up right now. Keep it up, man. I know we're over time, but if you want to look at this last play,
let's do it. Well, and real quick, I'll bring this up, Pat, and then we'll put this up. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Javonte's done. Should we pour one out for Javonte?
Yeah.
And it's a bummer, but he didn't come along. But I will say this, like what has me like kind of bricked up, like not quite 6 to midnight, but like 6 to 3 right now. Estime's got some juice in him, man. And I think like maybe I'm just like we've just been so used to seeing Javonte's lack of burst and his lack of vision and his inability to break arm tackles. the Estime runs hard, but like Estime, the way that Estime looked on Sunday kind of reminded me of rookie Javonte Williams. And so as we keep getting him going, like that could be huge for this team down the stretch, because this was not going to be a competitive playoff team with Javonte Williams as running back one. And I hate to say it.
No. So this is the touchdown to Court. This is a beautiful play. And this is what has me really, really just bricked up, throbbing. Okay.
Why don't you let the people know what a sicko Sean Payton is for this, Pat?
Oh,
and this is maybe the aggressiveness, David, that we like to see. This is why you need to be aggressive sometimes, Mr. David.
This is 3rd and 1, okay, from our 32-yard line. Okay. Sean has put in the jumbo personnel. What is Coach Pat? What is jumbo?
What's jumbo, Coach Pat?
Well, son, let me tell you, jumbo is when we take out a receiver or a tight end and we put another hog molly in there. Okay, so this is
Kurt going in motion.
So this is a shift. This is called a shift.
Oh, a shift. Okay. That would have been hilarious.
It would have been. And honestly, Detroit's done it. Wouldn't be surprised if we see it from Denver here in a few weeks. So Pert's going to shift over here. Okay. Now, this is an interesting personnel set. Why is that? Why is that, Coach? Well, because we have one wide receiver on the field right now.
Just one.
This is Adam Troutman. This is Nate Atkins. This is Matt Pert. This is Audric Estime. It's 3rd and 1, mind you. Now, this is very important, kids. Why is that? Well, Sean's been running this personnel, and he's been running the shit out of it. And they run the ball almost like every time they come out in jumbo, they're probably running the ball. Okay. And the Chiefs counted on that. So we're just seeing straight man across the board. Okay. We're manned up here. That's McDuffie. Bolton's right there. He's trying to be a little sneaky. He's trying to say, okay,
they've got 8 guys. I mean, 7 guys directly on the line, and then Bolton just behind it. So they got 8 dudes pretty much right up on the line.
Count the box. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the box. Okay. Don't count that. That's not in the box. Don't count that. That's not in the box. That's the deep safety. So we're showing cover 1 high. This guy's coming down. They are thinking it's run all the way. Here's the ball. Count the defenders from the ball, Mario. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That leaves 1, 2, 3 right here for 1, 2, 3, 4. Manned up. Hey, we got it. What are we showing here? We're show and run, baby. We are show and run the whole way. Troutman gets a nice release. He's inside. They were not expecting this to be a pass at all.
Not at all.
Sean got him. Okay. Troutman's going to run a little cross. Now, Eric Reed, you dumbass. You dumb idiot. What's your first rule as a deep safety? Nothing behind you.
Don't let anyone behind you.
Don't let anyone behind you. He had eyes on the run the whole time, and then he's just eye fucking Bo right now. He's looking into his pretty little face and saying, "I'm gonna pick this ball off," because he thinks he's going to Adam Troutman here. Guess what, motherfucker? Wrong. You guessed wrong.
That's where. Look at this, Pat. That's where Bo is looking. Bo is looking at Troutman, and he sucks the safety in. These are the kind of things that you're not like. People don't really pick up on. You see it on the broadcast, and it's like, oh. Cortland Sutton beat him deep. That was a great throw. But there are levels to it. There are certain aspects that you look for. This is a veteran play by Bo Nix. And this is not a play that a lot of quarterbacks can make. To have the confidence to look off this tight end and realize that safety is collapsing down. And as soon as he juts forward like this, with that body language, he's not turning and running and catching up. He's cooked already. Realized, Mario? No, this was intentional. He knew that Reed was going to eye fuck him. And so he's looking at Troutman the whole way underneath. Oh, they just want to get a first down here. That's fine. I'm going to blow this shit up. That's what he thinks. That's what he's thinking right now as he's looking at Adam Troutman. He's like, I'm going to rock this white boy so fucking hard. But your boy over here got beat. He got beat. This moment, he realized he fucked up.
Now, Trent McDuffie, all the respect in the world. Hell of a DB. How you let Cortland Sutton in the year of our Lord 2024 do this to you, I don't know. Takeaway is all pro status because this is disgusting. This
What
is
a
just
gorgeous route by Court, though.
Just the simple 1-2. Caught him flat-footed. And then, Mario, I have been begging Cortland Sutton to restack a DB all year. And he did. He did.
If he's even, he's leaving.
Beautiful throw, beautiful poise. This is the type of shit that gets me bricked up. This is great play calling by Sean Payton. You come out in jumbo set. It's 3rd and 1. It's a short yardage situation. You know the Chiefs are going to come out with the personnel to match it and stop the run, and you get the exact look that you wanted. Little play action, just go right over the top and safety comes down.
How about the execution?
Beautiful.
The execution was actually there, and this is what can happen when they actually execute. Sean Payton is an absolute sicko for this, for only having one receiver on the field and just cooking with him.
Oh yeah, this was a brilliant play call in this situation. Honestly, Sean Payton should just send this to our boy Benjamin, and just be like, "You don't like my play calling? Here you go."
Yeah, I'm sure Albright is absolutely sick seeing this, because this was just fantastic. Everything that you want. If that doesn't get you bricked up, if we don't get you bricked up, then I don't know what will. Then you just might be dead inside. My name is Mario Batanzi. That is Patrick Chiotti. This has been the best Broncos post-game show that you will ever find. The one and only Altitude Adjustment. Often imitated, never duplicated. Love y'all. See y'all next week. Goodbye.
Hey, feel I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup.